Rosemary's forever home is on Pendlebury Parade, or so she thought. After almost 50 years, the pensioner's being booted out, so she called us.
Despair, like, what are they doing to me? I had no idea. I was in tears. What am I going to do now?
For Rosemary Early, the thought of life without her husband Eric and her family home is unbearable. But that's exactly what the 77-year-old pensioner is facing.
We've been here 49 years, Housing Commission.
Rosemary and Eric migrated to Australia from England as a young married couple in 1971.
Why did you choose to come to Australia at the time?
For a better life for the family.
After a few years, they were allocated a house by the government on Pendlebury Parade in Woonona, south of Sydney.
When we moved in, it was an empty shell. There was no carpets, no window fittings, no light, not even light bulbs, no soil, so we had to buy soil. We bought a garage. We were under the impression we were buying because our paperwork said we had been approved to purchase. My husband asked the man that collected the rent when we could pay our deposit, when we could buy the house, and he told us, "You'll never be able to buy the house." So that was it.
Even though they couldn't buy it, they still thought it was going to be their forever home.
We were actually told by the man that came and did the inspection a couple of weeks after we moved in that this is your house, you can stay here till you die. That was his words.
Whose name was on the original lease?
My husband's name, Eric Early. The females had no say in the matter back in those days. Everything was in the husband's name because he was classed as the breadwinner. We were just housewives.
But Rosemary contributed more than just raising their two children. She worked in a clothing factory and Eric worked in the coal mines for decades, both helping to pay the rent.
I'm going back into the 70s, working in a clothing factory was hard work and hot. But yeah, that's what we did. That's what we had to do to bring our children up and try and give them a good life.
But in November last year, Rosemary's world turned upside down when Eric died.
He was, for the past 2 years, he was very ill. He was 83, just had his 83rd birthday, so he had heart failure. I still try and talk to him and suddenly realise he's not sitting in that chair anymore. Through some paperwork.
When Eric died, Rosemary contacted the government and had to apply to be recognised as a tenant after 49 years. But just a few months after Eric's death, the government decided to kick her out.
I was so happy when I finally signed the paperwork to say that I could live here and it was now in my name. And then 6 weeks later or so, I get the letter saying that this house no longer meets my needs. I don't understand why. Why couldn't they wait till my husband had been gone even 12 months so that I would have acclimatised to being on my own? Why did it have to be 4 months?
The government's told Rosemary that this home doesn't meet her needs and that's why she's being moved. It's hard to imagine what the reasoning was behind that though, given it's where she's lived most of her life and it's all one level with appropriate modifications and even ramp access. How do you think Eric would feel about all of this?
Oh, he would be devastated that what I'm going through now. That was his one worry, that I wouldn't get treated properly when he died. And that's what's happened.
Can you believe in 2023, as a woman, you still don't have the same rights as your husband?
I don't know. Why are they still going by those rules? Why haven't they adapted to the fact that life now is in two names, husband and wife, or man and woman, and partner?
Rosemary's neighbour, Leanne, says the great-grandmother should be allowed to stay.
I'm concerned that Rose is going to be moved and then pass away because she's losing her support system, she's losing her routines, and she's been here for, 49 years? Come on. She's nearly 78. She's not going to last forever, so why are you moving her? just to be nasty, I think.
I think for this area, I think they want to sell the house. I'm happy for a family to live in here, but not if they're going to sell it.
The government's told Rosemary she'll be moved when a suitable property becomes available.
What would you say to the New South Wales government?
The way they're treating the old people, the elderly people, is absolutely disgusting. Show some compassion. There is no compassion at all.
Well, the New South Wales government is not budging. It tells us Rosemary will be moved to a smaller property in an area of her choice.